All right, guys. I am here at one of the the Federation of Madrid's tennis centers, and I'm with Jorge and my good friend Javier. And Javier is going to interview Jorge, who he coaches top juniors in the world with pro aspirations. So Javier is going to ask some questions to Jorge and see if we can learn a little bit about how to develop a really good player. So I appreciate that, and Javier, go for it. Okay.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jorge Logroño.
All right, guys, before going into the interview, this is DG, he's called, and he is top 100 in the world right now and has pro tour aspirations. He's 17 years old, and this is Jorge's main pupil. He does have a couple other players he plays with. Alvarado, in this clip you can see is Alvarado playing with him, and Jorge is trying to get them ready for, especially DG, trying to get him ready for the junior Grand Slams, which he thinks he'll be able to make this year, which is very exciting. So hopefully you'll be able to see this guy on TV. He's a very nice guy. I talked to him for a while, and loves tennis, which is cool. Just loves the training and everything. So before I go into what Jorge's been talking about in his interview, that Javier was able to give me notes and tell me like what he was talking about, is just kind of, I noticed a couple things though watching Jorge coach, was that he does not just feed tennis balls and have them hit. He's very particular about how they hit, and you can see in the video that this guy is telling them specific things on their footwork, and he's stopping play, and he's hand feeding balls, but only when the form is right. If the form and technique is not right, he stops immediately and corrects it. Perfect practice makes perfect, not practice makes perfect. And he's a stickler on this, I can tell already. So he does a very good job with that. In the interview, so going into the interview though, he goes over a few main parts. The first one is, first of all, he trains, so the thing that he really focuses on is technique, fitness, and the mental aspects, and all of them are very important to him, but it seems like the mental aspect is the most important, especially in juniors, because the juniors are traditionally not very strong mentally, so he has to take a lot of time to develop that part of the game and to think while playing matches. So these guys do practice matches all the time, and to be honest, I couldn't tell if Alvarado or DG was the better player because they both hit amazing, but you could tell that, or after talking to DG, he mentioned that he wins easily because Alvarado doesn't think as well on the court, and he's working on that obviously, and DG says he has to work on it too, so it's not like he thinks he knows it all, but it's just so important to understand tactics and the mental training. I would say the biggest thing though that I got out of this was that he's really into, he reminds me of a teacher and not a tennis coach, a mentor in fact. So he wants to teach them values, respect, and helping others are his most important values. And he's not just a coach on the court, off the court. If the players are not doing well mentally, he does not train them on the court. He figures out what the problem is. He talks through with the players to see what's going on. Because if they're not having, something's going on with family or something is not going right in their lives, that training won't help. So he really focuses on making sure the players are good in a mental state of happiness, basically. And so he's like their dad almost, since these kids are training outside of their homes. I met a lot of kids in the facility. One's from Venezuela, another one from Rhode Island in America, another one's from Scotland. They're everywhere. Colombia. It's crazy how they all come here to train. So they do online schooling, so it kind of separates them. They don't have a lot of people to hang out with. Tennis is a very frustrating sport. It's a very difficult life to live. So he understands this, and he makes sure that the kids are in a very strong mental state. So I thought that was very cool of him focusing on that. Another thing that he really wants to reiterate is that these players need to understand that tennis is always a learning sport. It's not like you get it and you're maintaining your level. You're always improving, and that it comes along with frustrations too. These players will not always play well. They will fail, and failure provides opportunity to learn. And I thought that was very cool of him to mention that, because in the book by Carol Dweck, I recommend this book. It's called Mindset, and it's a great book to learn about how you emphasize effort, not ability or like results. And this gives the players an opportunity to understand that effort is what they can control, and it gets them better and better. So as long as they have that mindset, they're going to keep improving and be patient. His biggest advice for these players is that they all need to be patient with the progress. It takes time to reach their goals, and you need to be focusing on the process, not the outcome. And this allows you to play a lot better and get the players to the next level. And they're constantly learning, trying. And these guys were very coachable. I could tell right away that they have a bright career as long as they stay injury free. They have a bright career going into Division I tennis like Alvaro wants to, or even the pro circuit like DG wants to. But they're good kids. They love to learn, and I think that's a big deal. And in fact, so the last thing I want to mention in his training techniques is, he mixes in mental and physical and tactical efforts in every lesson. So he wants the players to understand there's more than just technique, there's more than just fitness and footwork. There's a lot of things to consider. So he might not put that in every lesson, but it's something that he wants to emphasize throughout his lessons with these guys. So hopefully this helps you guys learn a little bit about what he's all about, and maybe you can get a little idea of what kind of mindset you need to have, and if you're a coach, what kind of changes you can make to improve your coaching, like I am myself. So hopefully that helped. Great interview, and I really appreciate these guys' times. Very nice people, obviously. And the last thing to mention is just that these guys can hit really well. As you can, it's hard for me to video the whole part of the court, but this is DG hitting with Alvaro, and I mean, these guys are just incredible players. They hit the ball harder than anyone on the other courts that they're there, and it was just incredible. All indoor, because most courts are hard court on the pro circuit, if you think about it. So not a lot of clay, as I was actually surprised by that. So these players are very high level. It was a pleasure being here, and I learned a ton, and I just want to wish everyone that I talked to best of luck, and I'm definitely willing to learn more and going to watch for these guys on tour. All right.